Alright, in this video we're going to be making some changes to what we did in the previous one, as well as setting it up so whenever we play, there will be multiple, based off of how many players, points displayed at the bottom right. So we'll see every client's points. So change that we're going to make is pretty much how I want it to be set up. So when everybody, let's say we're in the lobby and the host hits start match. Well, I want us to wait for every client to be ready. So we're going to have some sort of system there. And then once every client's ready, then an event fires and everything kind of, starts up. So the player's not going to be able to move or anything like that. They're just going to see some sort of temporary screen. Once the event fires and everyone's ready, that screen goes away, the player can move and everything kicks off. So that event is what I want to also set the HUD for the points. So we're gonna, let's go back to our game mode. Instead of doing this all inside of post login, what I'm gonna do instead is this is gonna be temporary until we have that system that I just described set up. So we're probably just gonna have a delay inside of our begin play that fires a function that, well, simply goes through and does this for us. So it's just gonna call this and call setup new player joined. And new player joined is simply going to trigger that normal event. So I want to do some renaming as well. So let's begin. First things first, let's create our temporary function. Go right below post login. We'll do void temp on clients ready. Create the implementation. I want to move it right above post login. Then in begin play, right here, we're going to do f timer handle t temp client ready, get world, get timer manager dot set timer t temp client ready, this a Nazi zombie game mode temp on clients ready, and we're going to set the delay for now just to be probably 2.5 seconds and pass in false because we don't want it to loop. That should be enough of a delay. And then we're going to have this for loop in here. For loop right there. So it's going to trigger everything down. Inside of Nazi zombie player state, we can reorganize this to pretty much, we no longer need this timer. So I'm just going to comment it out. Put our broadcast function right in here. So that way it just fires whenever it's called from for the client RPC. And I want to rename it. So I want to have this event just be on clients ready. So F on clients ready. And rename it down here to on clients ready. And have it be on clients ready dot broadcast. So that means that our blueprint, we need to get rid of this binding of the event. Actually, I'm going to leave the stuff below it, but delete the event. Close the editor down and go ahead and compile. Come on. Alrighty. And once it loads up, we'll just relaunch our HUD. All right, so open. Gonna rebind that event. So right here, get the Nazi zombie player state, bind event to new or on clients ready, add a custom event on clients ready, and link it up to our print string. Let's confirm that it runs. I feel like it may have ran a little too soon. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Yeah, it was running too soon for the client. So go back to our game mode, find our delay. Here we're just going to crank this up to 5 seconds. So that's going to be our delay for when temp1 client ready actually fires. I guess better yet, we could probably even make this a console command just to make it a little easier for us so we can trigger it whenever we're ready. That's not a bad idea. All right, reopen the HUD, graph, let's double check. Server still prints out 2. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm going to do a quick little test instead. So I'm just going to drag out our points list. Going to do create widget. Going to be the type 5 points. Going to add child to vertical box and just see what happens. Should run on the client too. Okay, so it is. I don't know why it wasn't at first. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the print string. Link it back up. And let's see. Move it over some to separate it more. And let's see, what we need to do now is go to our setup initial widgets. Here we create our live points widget, set the points and all that kind of stuff. Fire that event. So after we set the player character, I'm going to disconnect that node. File save. So now it should only have one being added after the 5 seconds, like so. What we want to do is we want to do a for each. Pick that up. And on each run, kind of want to almost make a, let's see. Let me go down to our live points, graph. Right, so we have a variable slot number. This one instance editable and expose it on spawn. I'm going to rename it to player array x. Back to the HUD. uh, right click, refresh node. Here's where we're going to set it. So array index, pass it into array index or player array index. And then, let's see, create the widget. Trying to think. My brain's kind of turned off right now. So what I want to do, this is just to set it. We're not going to actually set the value yet. Just want to link it. I want to grab, I don't even, yeah, I do need the live points list, so we're going to add it. So I'm going to drag out, I'm going to do a get, do an add. What we're going to add is the return value for the create widget, like so. And hopefully you don't hear the vacuum in the background. Right, so that'll add it to that array. See what happens, make sure everything gets added. Okay, so it fired on the server, but not the client. Kind of weird that it's doing that. I don't know why. Do a quick little print string. It's only running on the server for some reason. So we'll just deal with it on the server for now and worry about the client, I guess, next. Server has 500. He buys it. So the top one is still linked to him. The client currently has nothing. Oh, yeah, whoops. Link that back up. So we remove the print string. Our player array index. Actually, I'm almost thinking just have it be linked to the player state instead of going off of the player array index. So that way I can create an event that just simply fires anytime a client's points get changed instead. I think that would probably be the smarter move. So let's go back to our live points. Player array index, let's just call this one player state ref. PTR for pointer. We're going to do Nazi zombie player state, object reference, change the variable type. Go ahead and compile it. Back here, we're going to right click, refresh. We have our player array element. Need to cast it because this is an array of player states. So we're going to cast to Nazi zombie player state. The cast is successful. We can link everything up. Let's just confirm that they still get added, which they do. So now we have a reference to the player state. Actually, delete that, it's just chilling there. So what we're going to do now, well, is whenever points change, I want the server to trigger an event that fires on all clients, and that event will loop through everything in our live points list and simply call a function called update. And because we have the player state pointer in here that's linked, the widget to the points, we should be able to just simply drag off, confirm that it's valid, get points, and just call set points. So Call set points like that, and it should be finished. It's as simple as that. So what I'm going to do is go over here to set points. I'm going to set that up actually. So set points is not going to take in any inputs. Just get our player state array or pointer, check if it's valid. It is. Get points. Get points. Turn value is going to get converted to a text and link it up. Let me, I guess, clean this up some. So we're going to get the points from the whatchamacallit and set text. Let's see, can we compile? Have an issue where? What do we call set points? On owner points changed. So what we want to do, just right click, refresh the node. On owner points changed. We're just going to simply call set points. We have a need. Actually, yeah, we do want to get the first index because, at least for now, because we're going to replace this. And I think this is the event that we're going to replace that gets fired from the server. So whenever the client, changes his points, it's going to fire. Whenever the server dictates that someone else change their points, it's also going to fire. That was just going to be kind of like one continuous, guess, change or check, so to speak. So what we're going to do is perform a for each off of the live points list. Link it up. This no longer needs to have a value being passed. To body, connect array element to set points, like so, and that's it. So compile save. We should still have, hopefully, it being functional by the M1 carbine. As you can see, the points just changed. We can also see it kind of being functional. So here we have the client, even though you can't see his points. The bottom right there at 5,000. Let's say I buy the Sturm conveyor, then I buy the door. So I spent a lot of points, and why not go ahead and buy the box while I'm at it? So what I want to do now is I want to do something to change my points on the server. So I shoot. As you can see, the client's points at the bottom right are 2,350. Let's say on the client, I shoot once, so I'll get 10 points. So now on the server, it's gonna go from 2,350 to 2,360, or make that 70. I guess it was a double hit. Please give me twice. Not entirely sure. Oh, out of ammo. All right, so yeah, we can now see other clients' points being changed based off of this event here. How long have we been going? 20 minutes. So for the most part, we're about set up. We're going to have to, I'm going to worry about getting it functional before I worry about getting it to print properly on the client, because that's not as big of a priority. Because what I want to do is to distinguish between ourselves and other people, just like they do in, war to war. Inside of this little list box here, I want to make the clients, I want to make their widget, the text inside of it, I want to make it a little bit bigger. So that way it stands out more and you can easily tell. And eventually we might even go through and do different colors. So, client 1 might have green, client 2 might have blue, that kind of stuff. But that's not too big of a deal. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here because we got the points, being updated and changed like and all that kind of stuff. Next up, we just have to figure out some sort of event to make all that happen, as well as clean this up, rename it to make it make more sense. So, as always, if you like what I'm doing and you want to help support me, there's a link to my Patreon in the description. If you have any questions or anything like that, there's also a link to my Discord down below along with it. So, I will see you in the next video.